Hi everyone, my name is Milian Chen and I'm the founder of Project KELP. I'm also a sophomore here at Stanford University studying Earth Systems. I'm here today with...
My name is Ijaz Mason. I am a filmmaker and I am a lecturer here at Stanford in Earth Systems, focusing on environmental communication. And I'm very happy to be here, Milian.
Yes, thank you for coming here today. Yes, I had the honor of taking your class earlier in the fall quarter and that was really fun. So
yeah, you and your entire class were some of my favorite group of students that I've had since I've been in education, which is more than a decade. And I'm just so happy to be re-engaging with you and talking about more amazing environmental topics.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that means a lot. Yeah. My first question for you is, how would you define sustainability on your own terms?
That's a great question. Sustainability, I think, is really twofold. It's first the ability for human beings to exist and thrive in their local communities, in the regions of the earth in which they come from, but also just for human beings to live and thrive on this planet, on the one planet that we have, for a very long time, generation after generation. It means to get better generation after generation in terms of how well we thrive, how well we adapt to environmental change, how well we adapt to disease and other things that exist and perhaps have always existed here on the earth, but ensuring that generation after generation has it a bit easier or a bit better than the generation before. So the first fold is obviously human existence. The second is the holistic health of our planet. This is the only planet we have thus far. I mean, people are trying to take us to Mars and all these other types of planets, take us to Saturn's moon and everything else. But as of right now, all we have is the Earth. This is our home. It is our food source. It is the only thing standing between human beings and all life forms, between this and annihilation. And so it's extremely important for us to ensure that this planet has what it needs and is protected and stewarded in a way to where generation after generation of all living organisms, the planet is healthy, the planet feels taken care of, and it can go back to the first topic, which is sustaining human life and the life of all living organisms on this planet.
Yeah, I really love how you talked about health as well, because we as humans, we care about how we are doing, but also the planet, and in terms of when we're healthy, the planet is healthy and vice versa. And so it really goes beyond just one generation, as you've mentioned. It really is all the generations before us and all the generations ahead of us, and how we carry what we do into the future and how they're going to need to respond to what we do. So we got to make sure we let them inherit a world that's better to live in. So
yeah, I really love what you said about the generations before us as well. So much of what allows us as human beings to live sustainably and effectively on this planet was already sort of taught to us by the indigenous community and populations of human beings that came long before us. And I feel like in today's world where there's so many innovations and there's so many scientific discoveries, I mean, here we are at Stanford University, this place of innovation and discovery. I feel like maybe we've lost a little bit of that traditional ecological knowledge. And it's going to be important to not only look ahead and search forward for the ways to ensure that the planet and human beings are sustainable, but also to look backwards and to see maybe if we can recover some of the knowledge that will help us do what I just said.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot that Western science and indigenous science can work together in order to achieve, and so I think that's really important moving forward, and also making sure that everyone has their equal chance to contribute and also share their knowledge and work together. So that's a lot of really good things. That's a good lead up to my next question, which is, what do you think we can do to improve inclusivity in this sector?
So to increase inclusivity, I think the first thing we're going to have to do is check our pride a little bit. Here we are, and like I said, this place of extremely high academic achievement and discovery and innovation. I think that because of our success, because of our grade point average, because of all the notations that our work has and the articles written about what we've done and the awards that we stand on stage and we accept, I think that quite often we can feel like we are the source of knowledge, that we are the experts when it comes to any number of issues or topics. But when you sort of check your pride and realize that everyone has their own perspective, everyone has some level of knowledge or lived experiences, and if you can include as many different sources of knowledge and understanding as possible, then I think you're on your way to true sustainability. And also like unlocking discoveries and information that otherwise you may not be privy to because you exist only in the world of academia and research, right? I'm someone who comes from a much more community level. You know, my career has been really rooted in talking to people kind of at the ground level who exist like up close and personal with what climate change realities are, right? Some of those people don't have doctorates or masters or bachelor's degrees. Some of them didn't even graduate high school, but they have lived experiences. They have practical experience. They have a level of knowledge and understanding that, you know, a lot of folks here would never truly grasp. So it's important to include all those different perspectives when we're talking about inclusivity and trying to truly reach a level of sustainable and effective change.
Yeah, I think that we were talking about earlier, there's just different types of knowledge, like whether that's experiential or traditional or Western or just all these things, and making sure that, you know, we get a platform for everyone. I also think when, at the very beginning, you were mentioning on like checking ourselves. I remember the term like positionality, where we have to make sure, okay, where do I stand in terms of climate? What do I know? What is my background? What can I bring to the table in terms of experience and knowledge? And what can I, you know, want to share? And what do I make sure to bring with me from my community? So I think that's also really important points when you're doing the science and when you're at somewhere like this, where you are in a position of privilege and are able to access a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
My last question for you, but we can continue, is basically, what do you think we can all do every day to protect our planet? I know you mentioned, you know, we have this one planet that we all call home. There's no planet B, as they say, and it's really important to protect this, so.
Yeah, I really love this question. When you wrote this to me and sort of like preparing me for this interview, this was my favorite question to talk about, quite honestly. So I have a practice. I don't always do this, so I'm not gonna act like I'm a saint for the environment or whatever, but a practice that I often like to do is when I'm walking around campus or when I'm here at the farm and I see a piece of trash, I see a piece of plastic that's kind of just laying on the ground, or I see a napkin, or maybe someone left a water bottle or something kind of just laying around, you know, maybe they were busy, maybe they were absent-minded, maybe they're just trifling and didn't think that it was their responsibility to throw it away. I usually try to pick it up and put it where it belongs, you know? And that act alone is not going to ensure that we as human beings have long-term sustainability on this planet. But that tiny act often can snowball into much bigger mindset shifts. It can transform into sort of the way you lead your life. All of a sudden, that little piece of plastic is not just some random piece of rubbish. It is a part of a much larger ecosystem and a much larger sort of cycle, that if I don't care about that, how can I ever expect to save our oceans from plastic waste, right? How can I ever expect to save all the people around the world who suffer from like mosquito bites that carry dangerous diseases, often because people have left plastic bottles hanging around and there's water that builds up inside of it, and boom, there's a mosquito population born right there, right? It all matters. It's all relative. So my advice for everybody out there watching this and everyone listening to this is do the small things. Focus on the small things. Focus on tangible things that you can do. And, you know, while you're here at Stanford or wherever you are in the world and you're focusing on these big systemic changes, don't forget about the small things. That also can include how we as humans interact with one another. Say hello to someone who you pass in the hallway. You've passed that person at your job 50 times this week, and you've yet to say hello or good morning or I hope that you're doing okay. Or, oh, I saw your research paper and I saw your article about your research. That was really wonderful. Those moments of sort of interpersonal connection, it's the same thing as picking up that little piece of trash. Because that one moment, of celebration of someone's work, saying, hey, you're doing a great job, that might be enough to keep them going in this work. And again, that snowballs into much bigger, like actual sustainable, effective change. So just focus on what you can control. And while you're focusing on the big issues, don't be afraid to just pick up that piece of trash and put it in the recycling bin.
Yeah, I think when you said at the beginning, you know, we can't all be perfect when we're doing sustainability, that's definitely very true and definitely 100% okay. I think someone wiser has said that we don't need one person doing sustainability perfectly, we need everyone like doing sustainability imperfectly, which means however you can and however you can incorporate that into your lifestyle. I know often there's a lot of messaging on sustainability means you have to, you know, always carry this, always do this, always think about this, but that is a lot to think about for one person, and you don't want the burden of the entire world, the whole climate, to be on you. And so when you can see what works for you, then that's the best way you can contribute while you can maintain your current lifestyle or maybe even make it better. So just small things you can add up to. And then when you're talking about human connection, I definitely think that's like so important, because when you're working in climate, you know, sometimes there's climate anxiety, sometimes there's feeling hopelessness of, you know, current climates of different things, and just being there for each other, saying hi, being there as humans is really important, because that thing about climate change is that we need to strengthen these connections between each other. We need to know to care about things that may not be directly impacting us at the moment, but are directly impacting communities around the world. And so these real human connections are really what's going to drive it forward and help climate. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you just said, especially that human sort of connection portion of it. You know, again, what I've seen during my time here at Stanford is so many people are so phenomenal and so brilliant, and they're working on issues that will in some way, shape, or form impact the entire world, or even just impact a portion of the world, right? And because of the requirement of work and study and focus that takes, I think that people often miss opportunities to have this sort of interpersonal, like human connection, right? And if you're working in sustainability, or you're working in business, or anything in this world that involves people, other humans, right?
Which is basically everything.
Yeah, which is basically everything, exactly. If you're working in that sort of field and you're so locked in on the actual work that you forget the people around you or the people who you interact with, how are you ever going to know that what you're working on is going to be effective, it's going to be sustainable, if you've never tested your thinking, if you've never shared your ideas with anyone, if you've never stepped away from the work and, you know, shared a coffee with someone and talked about their ideas? Maybe that person is doing the exact same thing, and you'd never know that you have an ally or a partner sitting there right there in front of you if you never open your mouth and say hello, you know. So that's something that I'm excited about here at Stanford. That's something I'm excited about bringing to all of my classes, is both the scientific understanding and focus on the work, but also allowing other humans, other people to be brought into your work, because it's going to take all of us to solve these really big systemic issues that we face and that our planet faces.
Yeah, I definitely think no matter what you're studying, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're interested in doing or just curious about in general outside of your formal training or job or schoolwork, it is important to see that, you know, we're not all in silos, we're not separated from each other. We can really build that human connection, we can work together, and it does matter how we approach these conversations and make these bonds. So
true.
All right. Well, okay. Well, thank you so much, Ijaz, again for being here today. It was an honor getting to interview you. I'm really excited for all the things happening here with you at Stanford, your new classes maybe. And yes, thank you again.
Thank you so much for this invitation. It's always wonderful being in your presence, especially talking to you about really awesome, really cool environmental topics. It's been an honor to speak with you today.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think one more thing is I'd like to say we're outside right now on the Stanford O'Donoghue farm, so it's been amazing.
Shout out to my family here at the O'Donoghue farm. They have been some of the greatest partners that I've had in my time here at Stanford. Even before I was a lecturer here, when I was just a fellow, they've always opened this space to us, welcomed us in this space. if you want to support environmental sustainability work happening right here on this campus, how about come out here and dig up some dirt and plant a seed, because they could always use some volunteers, and this is a truly special place. Just this large, fully organic, fully electric, sustainable farm, where everyone in the community is invited out to. So shout out to the people here at the farm.
Yes, yeah. And I'm really excited to go see the quails later, maybe.
Oh yeah, and I gotta go find that rabbit we saw a second ago.
Yes, yeah. All right, but thank you for watching.